Hi guys, this is part 3 of my mini-series about making my sister's birthday cake. The first thing to do in this 8-hour day was make the cake layers, and I use cake mix, so don't at me for that. I think it's more convenient, and I also add and replace ingredients to elevate the quality of the cake. I always add one more egg than the box says is needed, and I replace the water with milk. And since this is a chocolate cake, I added a tiny bit of instant coffee just to enhance that chocolatey flavor. And I also added a little bit of vanilla extract because that just feels like the right thing to do. Then it's time to fill up the cake pans and put them in the oven for 30-ish minutes. Check the box, I don't know. Now it's time for our Swiss meringue buttercream. Add egg whites and sugar to a bowl and put it over a double boiler until the sugar dissolves. You can rub a bit of the mixture in between your fingers to make sure there's no sugar left. And then you're going to use a stand or hand mixer to whip the egg whites until they reach stiff peaks. And that takes around 10 minutes. While I was working on the buttercream, the cakes finished baking, so I took them out and set them on a cooling rack. To the meringue, you're going to add your butter and let it continue mixing until the butter is fully incorporated, and don't forget to add vanilla extract at the end. Then it was time to color all the frosting, and the way I color buttercream is that I take a portion of it out, microwave it until it turns liquid, and then add the dye. I use gel food dye, and gel food dye is very concentrated, so it always distributes better when it's in a liquid. Then I add that dyed portion of the liquid to the rest of the buttercream and mix it until it has the color. Then I started assembling the cake, so what I did was take a little bit of buttercream and put it down on the cake board, stick the first cake layer on, add a little bit of chocolate simple syrup to keep it moist, and then add the buttercream and then the raspberry filling. You want to create these like little walls with your buttercream to make sure that the raspberry filling doesn't spill out, or else it's going to be leaking all over your cake and that's going to be a mess. Then once all the layers are stacked, you can start coating the entire cake in buttercream. So most of the time when you decorate a cake, you're supposed to use a crumb coat, which is a thin layer of frosting to catch all the crumbs and make sure they don't appear in the final product, and then you go over it with another layer of a frosting. But I'm too lazy, so I skipped that. Then the cake went into the fridge to chill while I worked on dyeing the buttercream for the shell border of the cake. Then I brought the cake back out, filled the piping bag, and then started piping. For the shell border, I used a Wilton 6B piping tip, and then I just did a row of shells around the top of the cake and a row of shells along the bottom of the cake as well. After that, I had no more buttercream, so I had to make a second batch of normal buttercream and then dye those into separate colors as well. I divided it into 3 bowls and dyed them light green, dark brown, and light brown. I put the light green in a piping bag to pipe vines all around the cake using a Wilton 233 piping tip. And then, my phone died. So while my phone was charging, I made brown vines using the same tip as the green ones. I also made some leaves using piping tips number 70 and 67. I'm sorry. And then I used the light brown buttercream to make the stems of the mushrooms. And most of the stems I froze and then attached the mushrooms on, but some of them I just tried to freehand, and it turned out pretty good. I dyed the rest of the light brown pink to make some little baby flowers, and then it was time for some glitter action. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. And now, here is the final product of the cake. I'm super proud of how it turned out. Madeline and her friends also really liked the cake, and here's a video of them enjoying it. Thank you so much. Bye!